educating your clients is bullshit. And I can tell you that as someone who was a teacher for 8 years. Most of you in this industry do not know how to educate people. You don't understand the basic principles of education. You've never read any of the research around education. You've never taken any CPD that was actually written by someone who works in education. And as a result, it means we've got this idea that, oh, education will fix everything. I'll just tell people about caloric deficits and I'll make sure they eat enough protein and I'll make sure they've got creatine in their diet. Like, if it were that simple, do you really think we'd have an obesity epidemic? The lack of information is not why we struggle. It's in the applying it. And luckily for you, that's why your job matters. Because AI is wonderful and it will, well, potentially, let's not get into that. People who worry about it replacing them are worrying because they're shit at their job. They don't know how to help people. They don't know how to guide them. They get frustrated. They just want to give them the information and off they fuck. Well, if I'm honest, I don't rate that sort of coach at all. I don't think you're any good at coaching if that's your approach. And I can understand it's different at different levels. If you're working with people who are in elite sport, for example, they kind of got to get their shit together so that you can start focusing on the big picture stuff. But if you're working with everyday people, it's simply not as straightforward as, oh, I'll just tell you stuff and you'll take it in. If it was, you'd all be teachers and you'd be capable of being teachers, and you aren't. And I hate to break it to you, that's not what teachers do. It might feel like it when you're at school, and there are teachers out there who do that, but the good ones, the ones that you remember, the ones that had an impact on your life, they didn't do that. They put in hours of fucking work behind the scenes to make something look effortless that isn't. In the same way that when you write programs for people and they're in the session with you, they might see that as quite effortless. They don't see the hard work that went on behind the scenes. They don't see how you've slowly crafted the questions that you ask, or the way that you discuss stuff with people that maybe you're not interested in, or the way that you sequence the exercises that they have so that they learn how to do the movements properly, or the variations that you have, the progressions and regressions. They don't see any of that, because why would they? And so you're not going to get people educated by just giving them information, because they wouldn't be hiring you if that was the case. You would not have a job if it were that straightforward, because all the fucking information's out there. It's all on the internet. But we think it's just a lack of finding it because we enjoy it and we've gone and found it. So we assume that if we do the same thing for other people, the same thing will happen. But it won't. We have an epidemic in the West of obesity, and people have the audacity to pretend to themselves that they are influencing that. Well, I hate to break it to you, but if you're a trainer or a coach and you think that's what you're doing, you should be fucking embarrassed, because it's only getting worse. And really, we don't have much impact on that. We are not the front line of this shit. And actually, even if we were, we should again be embarrassed, because it's not working. Because it isn't about educating people. It's about breaking down barriers to exercise so that people enjoy being here. So number one, get a personality. Have something to talk about that isn't the gym. Because there is nothing more boring to someone who's come here because they know that they don't feel great and they don't like the gym environment, and they get a fucking gym bro. That's what puts people off. That's why they don't come to the gym. If all you can talk about is pre-workout and protein farts, you are going to lose clients fucking rapidly, because that's not what people are interested in. So get a hobby. Second, be careful about what you tell people. Don't berate them. Don't belittle them. If they do something wrong, it's your fault, honestly, is the way to look at it, because you didn't tell them how to do it. They didn't understand. That's on you. 3, people need repetition. In the same way that they've got to practice those exercises over and over again to get good at them, you need to practice your instructions. You need to practice explaining to them what they need to do. They might roll their eyes and get annoyed because you've said it 6 times in a row, but that's better than someone who never asks any questions doing it wrong and you don't understand why, because they're too afraid to tell you. So many people will not tell you that something isn't working because they don't feel like you're open to that feedback. So you need to be open and inviting whether you like it or not. And you need to make sure that you have repeated what you want them to do in a variety of different ways and explained it using different words, not just saying the same thing over and over again, because that lets them know that that communication is there. It could be as simple as saying, If that doesn't make sense, please tell me. I know I'm not the best at explanations. Done. It's not that hard. But people don't know that. You just think, oh, I'll just tell them to do it and they'll do it. So I hope that's some useful tips for you. I hope some of you can take something from this and actually apply it to your coaching. But if all you do is blame people because it hasn't worked, then that's a you problem. That's not a them problem. They're here for you to come and fix things for them. They're not here for you to make fun of them or belittle them or make them feel small. That's why people don't come to the gym. So don't be another fucking barrier by being boring, not having the ability to communicate and actually listen to people, and making sure that you're clear about what you say. If you don't do that, it's on you. You are not going to educate someone out of this by just telling them stuff, because if you could, like I said earlier, they wouldn't fucking be here, because people don't struggle with the big picture, they struggle with the application. So start focusing in on the little things that you can do to make yourself a better coach and make their experience better. And if that's resonated with you, if you'd like to come and learn something in person and actually find out more about it, if you look in the description, there is a little link to an event that myself and William Wayland of Powering Through Performance, who is a fucking phenomenal strength and conditioning coach, are putting on about the craftsmanship of coaching. And one of the things that I'll be talking about is how you actually coach. As silly as that sounds, communication in coaching is by and large abysmal. And I think there are some very, very easy wins that can make you a phenomenally good coach if you just pay attention to them. So the link's down below. It's on the 22nd of October. Click through, and I think the first 10 people will get a discount on the cost.